Tyler.
Hey.
Hey.
Yes.
You know what? I wonder what it would be like if Romeo and Juliet met Jesus. You guys ever think about that?
Oh, wow, that would be interesting.
Good idea.
Yeah.
Good idea.
I know. Let's act it out. What do you guys think?
All right.
Sounds
Okay,
good.
let's do it.
Just have explosives. Set it off. A man named Jesus from the land of Nazareth had departed with his disciples to a garden located in the interior of the Kidron Valley. While speaking to a crowd that had followed Jesus in the midst of his journey, Judas,
Human beings in a mob. What's a mob to a king? What's a king to a god? What's a god to a non-believer who don't believe in anything? Really make it out alive.
Go.
All right, all right.
Are you the Messiah?
Yes.
I said, are you the Messiah?
I'm the one you seek.
Oh.
What's your dog? You spitting on it.
Now you tell him to put his sword away.
What's up, man?
Romeo, what are you doing? Go and arrest him. Get him.
Vamos a la playa, a mí me gusta bailar el ritmo de la noche. Sounds of fiesta.
Time became a standstill for Romeo, and immediately flashbacks of a woman he loved rushed into his mind. He knew that defying the captain's orders would be placing his woman, Juliet, in complete danger. Yet Romeo had known in his heart that this love could not be united due to the hostility of both of their families. He knew of the risks involved, but believed that if this Jesus could heal his ear, he might be capable of miraculously bringing Juliet and Romeo to a compatible, loving union. The risk of backlash of defying his captain's orders grew stronger, however, and Romeo decided to place his hands on Jesus.
Hey, I just met you, and this is crazy. But here's my number, so call me maybe. It's hard to look right at your baby.
Go.
Get him.
Meanwhile, Juliet came hurriedly and weeping to the face of Romeo, bleeding and without response after Juliet screamed his name repeatedly to wake up. At the same time, Judas was still present after the crowds had dispersed and witnessed the tragedy that fell before his eyes. His mind became fluttered with his actions that led to Jesus being arrested and Romeo presumably dead, and in a guilt-ridden state, Judas, in an uncontrollable screech and wail, decided to kill himself for betraying Jesus, a man who had loved him and, above all, the Son of God. Judas, with the same lips he had placed upon the face of Jesus in the act of utter betrayal, kissed the weeping, gloomy Juliet on her cheek as her tears ran down, and told her that she should never be able to forgive him for his indirect killing of Romeo. After Judas has departed from her, Juliet cried and placed her face on Romeo's bleeding wound from the side of his head. Juliet drew her eyes and lifted a vial of poison that was accidentally dropped by one of the Jewish high priests as a means to taint Judas' lips in order to kill Jesus by the touch of the skin-rotting toxic fluid. Guilt swarmed in her thoughts as she began to ponder that she became the reason for Romeo's death. Soon after, her body became weak and frail and resulted in her passing out due to her dire conditions and was left unconscious in the dark, cold night. A short time had passed after Juliet fell into a deep sleep, and suddenly Romeo jolts up and notices Juliet on his side. With blood oozing from her hair, not knowing what had happened to her,
Look up!
he shakes her and repeatedly attempts to wake her up.
Juliet!
Struggling to no avail, Romeo assumes she has drunk the vial of poison clutched in her hand. He decides to finish the vial and dies beside her. And Romeo closes his eyes.
The grim night, with the stench of blood in the air, awakens Juliet from her sleep. And she realizes that Romeo still had not woken up. She becomes convinced that he is dead and draws Romeo's sword from his sheath and launches it straight through her beating heart. As the sun awakens with the creak of dawn, warm yellow sunlight dribbles through the garden, and the two lay side by side, never to awaken from their sleep again.
Well, that was good, but kind of what were the lessons from that story?
Well, Judas was enveloped by greed, and his greed eventually led two people that were so loved and so blessed by the people to inevitably be killed, and that's the lesson.
Kind of like greed takes over?
Greed kind of
Betrayal.
betrayal.
He betrayed Jesus, he betrayed Romeo, and then he killed himself, so he didn't gain anything.
All for 30 silver coins. That's our lesson.
Yeah, that was fun, guys. It was fun. Yeah, I get to do that.